Just up there is the tree that is responsible for many people losing their lives. This place is so eerie. It's just dead silent. And the horrible things that happened here, you can just feel it. This is a creepy, creepy place. What was that? I swear I just heard someone. Right, I'm getting out of here. Welcome to Newcastleton Forest. Today I'm going to be hiking to several haunted spots and spending the night beside a tree which is often visited by ghosts. Come along for the adventure. So I'm starting the adventure in this little clearing and I've just come over a pretty cool little bridge. And if you've watched my videos you know how much I like bridges. The car park is just up there and I've got a few options. I can go there, I can go that way, or I can go up that way, which is where I'm heading first. Let's do it. So this forest is near the border between Scotland and England, which is an area that I haven't done too much exploring. And since we're in October, it is spooky season, I thought I'd do something a little bit scary, which is why I've planned this hike today. First we're heading to the top of a little hill, but I don't think there's too much incline to get up there. What is this up here? This looks a lot like a gate. Oh, I'm so glad I can get round this. I was getting flashbacks there from a previous adventure. I had a trip recently where I was walking amongst a wind farm. There was these huge turbines and I ended up having to turn back. Hold on a second. I'm at a crossroad again. I think I'm just going to go left. Check the maps later. If in doubt, go left. That's my motto. But yeah, I was just getting flashbacks there that I'd gone the wrong way or something like that again. But I think we're all good. Yeah, this is indeed the right way. That is ideal and a nice gradual climb. Can't complain. This is a nice and peaceful forestry track. Haven't seen a single person so far. And it's just lined with these trees. Listen to that. Just silence. So peaceful. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but there's some geezer with a chainsaw disturbing the peace. I wonder if he knows that I'm out on a stroll. How selfish. Obviously I'm joking, this is still quite nice. And he must be over on that farm that you can see in the distance. Not too sure. These skies though are pretty moody. Suppose it's fitting for the trip I'm doing today. And I think I might be heading up in this direction, which doesn't look like much of a path, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I would call this a path or a trail, to be honest. Doesn't really seem to be much up here. In fact, that doesn't actually look too bad there. Maybe it'll get better. I don't really mind what I'm walking on because this route is so short. I've actually purposely made it longer. If I just headed straight to the haunted tree that I'm going to be camping at, it would have been there in like 10 minutes, maybe even less. But the way I've plotted it out, it should take me about an hour, even if that does involve a little bit of bushwhacking. Ah well, I've completely done this to myself. And since I'm getting higher, the views are getting a little bit better. There's a hill over there in the distance, which looks pretty cool. Yeah, some different but nice views. Oh, I'm free. Free falling. Nah, none of that. Copyright will be out to get me. But yeah, I'm finally out of that horribleness. And I think I'm pretty close to the top of this hill. Yeah, I think I can actually see a trig point just up ahead. We are super close. Ah yes, here we are, the top of Priest Hill, 205 metres above sea level. So this is one of the haunted spots on the route that I've planned. This peak is apparently visited by ghosts of the nearby Castleton churchyard in the dark hours of the night. I'm not going to be up here to see if they do appear, but that's still pretty cool to know. Yeah, there's not really too much to see up here though, so I'm going to continue on. Let's do it. This footpath is a lot better now as well. That is ideal. I do quite like southern Scotland. It's not as dramatic as the north, but you get a lot of this. Just these huge glens, which are quite nice to look at. Yeah, it's something different, but it's quite nice. It's weird how silence can be both nice and a little bit scary under different circumstances. Earlier I was saying it was quite peaceful, but now that I'm in the forest, I can't lie, it's a little bit eerie. Look at this. This is quite a bit darker already. This is pretty interesting. I feel like a stream should just be running alongside it, but there's absolutely nothing. It is silent in here. I can hear some birds chirping away though. As long as they continue to sing, that makes it a little bit less creepy for me. So it's apparently one of these trees right here. I can't really see one that stands out, to be honest. They all look pretty similar to me, and there's no sign or anything like that. But this is apparently the haunted spot. I do have a couple of issues though with this particular spot. Issue number one is I don't know what tree it is that I'm meant to be scared of. And issue number two, and arguably the most important, there is nowhere to camp around here. Not even like a remotely flat spot. So I think I'm going to continue on a little bit, and maybe this tree will pop out at me, or there'll be like a wee sign or something like that. Let's go and see. Hold on a wee second. It looks like there's some sort of wee trail through the grass here. Let's see where this leads. Actually, I think I can see a little arrow up ahead. Let's go and see what it says. What does this say? Oh, that says hanging tree. That's a little bit of a hint of where I'm heading. That is promising. I'm still not sure if I'm going to be able to pick it out unless it's like there's a sign telling me it is what it is. But I'm just going to follow this trail and see if I can find it. Okay, here it is. There is actually a sign, which is ideal. There we go, the hanging tree. And look at that tree, that is quite a creepy shape. You can definitely tell that it's got some dark history behind it. Oh man, that is always so heavy. And unfortunately there's still nowhere to camp around here. This might look fairly flat on camera, but it's so bumpy, and I mean, it's on a slant, so I don't think I'm going to be able to camp right here. But let's head closer to the hanging tree and see if I can find somewhere. Wow, as I get closer to this tree, it is pretty eerie, I can't lie, when you know what occurred here. So it is called the hanging tree because hundreds of years ago it was used for exactly that. It is an ancient ash tree which used to be much bigger than this. And this would have been the last place that many people saw, which is pretty creepy to think about. They used to use these huge branches to obviously hang people. And I shouldn't be laughing, but it's just a defence mechanism because this place is pretty creepy. A lot of people died here, which is pretty amazing to think, but is also pretty creepy. So according to that information post, the last hanging in this area was in 1853, which when you think about it isn't actually that long ago. That's less than 200 years. You know, think back in your family tree 200 years ago. That's not that many generations. And they were still using trees like this to take people's lives. That is pretty amazing, but pretty scary to think about. I think that hole in the middle of the tree as well just adds to the creepiness of it. And it's still pretty tall. The way the branches just spread out. Yeah, it's a cool shape. Oh, unfortunately, there is absolutely nada space to comfortably pitch a tent. I could probably pitch it, but I would be getting zero sleep and yeah, maybe damaging my tent as well. So I think I'm just gonna have to continue on, get away from this creepy old tree. Let's do it. If you came here to see ghosts, don't worry. The video isn't over just yet. I can't leave without seeing that tree in the dark. So I can't camp, but I'm not too far from my car, so I'm just gonna head back there, give it 2 or 3 hours, wait till it's pitch black out here, and then I'll return and see if we can find some ghosts. Let's see if I can find my way back without getting lost. Here we go, this is the proper trail. That's the direction I came from. And that is the hanging tree just down there. Just for reference for me for later on. Right, let's get back to the car. Okay, here we are. That is the car park just over there. So the next time you see me, it will be pitch black. Well, it is not quite pitch black, but I was getting pretty bored sitting there, and it is dark enough in this forest. I can't really see too much, to be honest. Let's head along to the hanging tree and see if I can find any ghosts. Yeah, this is super creepy when you're alone. I really can't see much. The torch only goes about that far, so basically anything further down this path I'm not going to see until I reach it. Oh, I really hope this torch lasts. I don't really do much hiking in the dark, and I'm now seeing why. It is terrifying. Just not knowing what's out there, especially alone in a forest. Yeah, this is not much fun. Oh well, I'm nearly at this haunted tree. Then I can find some ghosts and then run back to the car. Here we go. There is the sign for the hanging tree, and I believe it is just down here. A little bit nervous, I can't lie. Turn back. Okay, here it is, the hanging tree. Just up there is the tree that is responsible for many people losing their lives. This place is so eerie. It's just dead silent. And the horrible things that happened here, you can just feel it. This is a creepy, creepy place. Especially when there's trees like that with haunting histories. I see dead people. What was that? I swear I just heard someone. Right, I'm getting out of here.